Hello and welcome to the Tilted Roll podcast.
Hello there.
We are your podcast masters. I am Marshall.
And I'm Francisco.
And we're doing somewhat a late topic, but it's kind of one we realized we didn't really talk about earlier. Because we kind of wanted to, if anything, I guess maybe when we were thinking of topics for our first few episodes, we were very much thinking, I guess, maybe as a way to it's kind of a good way to get to know us kind of as players / DMs. Like topics that we kind of look at as oh, this would be interesting to talk about and whatnot,
That's true.
because these are player-based things that can help people get into it. But one thing we felt like we could start discussing is I guess we could look at or we could just say D&D in the year 2018 and what we are hoping / expecting to see in 2019.
Yeah, because fun fact, the New Year has already come and gone. So now...
That's why we're late.
Yeah. So now we are here with several articles that we looked up and
Yes.
we read.
Well, we were trying to look at we were essentially trying to see what is any announced upcoming books at the recording of this podcast.
Right.
And then any other things that we can hopefully maybe expect to see in the other releases of 2019. Which none of those are concrete, really. But we figure probably start. What we thought would be an interesting kind of way to start it, though, was looking at what were some of the things that did come out in 2019 or 2018. Sorry,
You're doing the thing already.
I know. I'm already thinking too far ahead.
I mean, we're not in 2020 right now yet.
Right. We don't got perfect vision, but we do have good vision of these books that came out this year.
Excuse me, I do have perfect vision, motherfucker.
I'm just saying. I'm talking about as a whole. 2020 is the year that will cure blindness.
Exactly.
Just because it is 2020.
But
the
first book we want to talk about that came out in 2018, really great book that we both referenced several times in the past podcast, is Xanathar's Guide to Everything.
Yes, the light reflection was a little harsh there, but you guys can see it now. Xanathar's Guide to Everything. This book was really good for a lot of things, which is great because it was it's not the biggest book either. It's a pretty small package, but it's got a lot in it.
Yeah, there was so much hype for it coming out.
See, good things do come in small packages.
Oh, I won't say that, but I know at least for the AL circuit, we were very excited to have that come out because that was our first guaranteed AL legal extra content that we would have.
Right.
With all the new subclasses, all the different things you can do. It was pretty great. Plus, the This Is Your Life backstory generator that's basically in the book.
That was really nice.
Very helpful.
Yeah, I mean, because it's so just nice because, it's a great way just to be able to just be I don't know. What are some things that I could do? Because that's the thing. It's I feel like there's a lot of people that don't start campaigns at level 1 and 5e. I think it's because obviously I would say level 1 is the only time that you have I guess what you could call a real world threat level of experience where it's just sure, everything may die pretty quickly. Fighting 4 Kenkus really isn't overly threatening when you think about it. But at level 1, not only can you one-shot them, but they can one-shot you, potentially.
Exactly, which harkens to a campaign we actually did yesterday.
It was the part of the, we'll talk about it in a moment, but the Waterdeep campaign.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, that is the funding part about when you start at level 1, is that that threat is there. And that's funny, and I feel like a lot of people will kind of skip ahead to level 3 or a little bit maybe more just because they want to just kind of get to, I guess what you could what maybe some people would say is the good parts. I'm putting that in heavy quotation marks though, because that's very subjective, but I think a lot of people just kind of want to get to when they can actually start being their specialty, when their specialization, really start to be the character that they want to be and not just being well, I want to be this really cool arcane archer that came out in Xanathar's, but I can't yet. I just got to be a normal archer for now because I'm level 1. I don't have a lot of things available to me. This thing's really shiny in the sunlight.
It's because it is holy text. And
It is holy.
But another great thing that Xanathar also gave us was spells. New spells. A bunch of new awesome spells. Which in reality some of them were from the Elemental Evil book.
But still, they were they did add really cool ones. Like, honestly, one of my favorites was Toll of the Dead, just because I think it added an interesting level. Because like you could think it's, how is it terribly? What parts of it on its base are like terribly different from, Chill Touch or something like that? But then you get to something like, but then you actually read what Toll of the Dead does, because Chill Touch now being a ranged spell, it really should probably change the name in a way. I know thematically it makes sense, but it's still strange.
You're the only one who has that problem.
No, I know a large number of people that are like Chill Touch, but it's ranged.
The large amount of people that don't exist. But Chill of that is pretty great, especially since it introduces the concept of a cantrip that does a certain amount of damage to a target that has not
been hit.
Yeah,
or has been hit. Like, because there's obviously the greater benefit of when they have been hit.
Oh yeah.
And you get to do more damage to somebody that's been hit like that. And as a cantrip, that's immensely valuable.
Oh yeah.
Because Chill Touch has its uses. Recently we were in a session of what we've mentioned is our like Friday campaign that we do off, that isn't part of our show and whatnot. It's just our kind of nice personal campaign we get to do. Yeah. And we were fighting a Hydra. So all my character did was just keep Chill Touching it so it couldn't heal. It was like, it may get more heads, but it won't regain health.
And I just kept punching it. It was great.
Yep. And that was, but like that. So Chill Touch has its uses no matter what, even with Toll of the Dead, especially because not all classes get it, right. But a lot of classes get Chill Touch. But the cool part is that, I could keep doing that. And I don't know if Toll of the Dead, so I get Chill Touch, but say I was a wizard and I get both. Mm-hmm. Still having both actually would have their uses, because again, you could use one for the fact that they can't heal until your next turn, so you could keep preventing them from getting healed, or you could just do more damage with a cantrip and have that possibility of doing a D10's worth of damage instead of a D8 with a cantrip. That's always valuable.
That's true. You want to know what my favorite spell that came out from Xanathar's? Mold Earth.
Yes, that is a very, very good spell. It has an amazing RPG quality to it.
It does. If you want to make a 5-foot hole instantaneously, get Mold Earth.
Yes, and if you wanna troll, and if you're traveling in forests and whatnot, any place that is dirt, and you just want to purely troll your party members, get Mold Earth.
Oh yeah.
There's many pranks to be had.
Plus, if your DM's nice, it could be considered 3/4 cover if you're in the hole shooting, taking pot shots at the enemy.
Well, it's 5 feet deep, right?
Yeah.
So as long as they're under 5 feet tall, it's full cover, and then it's even better.
It's true.
But that means you also probably can't shoot out of it unless you can get enough of a lip in there that you can just kind of put your feet in and be like,
yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so that's Xanathar's. And then after that, I believe we had this book. Okay, this book is...
I think there are probably other books before this, but like there might have been an adventure book or something. Was there?
No, I don't think so, actually.
This must have been the next one.
Team on Annihilation came out 2017, so yeah, this was way before.
Yeah, there was only the one, I guess, adventure.
Oh yeah, but this book has a special place in my heart, only because it's the first book I bought after I got out of boot camp. Like right after I got out, I told my girlfriend and my sister, we need to go to this game store in San Diego. We need to buy this book.
To go.
And I read this book on the plane right back to where we are now.
And this is my fancy cover version of Mordekainen's Tome of Foes,
which he rubs into me every single time. I have the regular cover.
I mean, to be fair, like again, this is the recall version. Which I bought after the recall, so you can't return it. And you can kind of see by the edges, there's a little bit of like on the edges of the cover, you can kind of see the whole like nice matte finish ish thing is kind of not there. But I mean, I think honestly the reality, like when the light's not shining on it, it still looks really good. Like, obviously the light will somewhat be shining, but from a distance you don't really see it either. And for the most part, a lot of these books just sit on my shelf up there. So I bring them out when I really need them.
I think
since I use a lot of online stuff now,
yeah,
I don't need it all the time. I mostly use obviously the main time I use this book is when I'm DMing, and I figured for the D&D Beyond stuff, I would rather use the books for while I'm DMing, just so that I could see all the table, just because I didn't need to buy it, because I didn't have the money to buy everything on D&D Beyond. So I just kind of was like, all right, I'm just gonna have all my essentially things I usually need to actually DM, because I prepare most of the stuff anyway. Careful there. I keep everything prepared anyway, so I don't really lose any. I don't need to have the book with me when I'm in the session, because I have limited space on my computer desk. But I will have them nearby just in case I need them. But
by the way, another great thing that came out in 2018, D&D Beyond.
Well, was that purely 2018? I think it was around a little bit sooner.
No, it was purely 2018, because I vividly remember it just being 2018. I might be wrong, but I'm just mentioning that. But back to Mordenkainen's, that book. You want to know about demons and devils? There you go. You want to know about elves and their lifespans? Right in that book. Explains everything.
Yeah.
They have so many, they go into the lore of a lot of things, like dwarves, Jorgards, not my flavors, sorry, can't have myself with a different book, but they have a lot of minute lore bits here, and here about certain races and whatnot. It also has, I want to say, 7 more tiefling sub-races that you can pick from.
I don't remember the final number. No, I can't remember. It's not a small list either, but maybe might be able to tell just from at least the table of contents.
Oh yeah, so if you want to play a different type of tiefling, there you go. It might not say it on there actually.
No, it just has tiefling sub races as one category, which sadly, however, has a large number of them.
Yeah.
Let's see. We've got the base one. Oop, I was looking in the wrong mic. My bad. So we've got the base one, which is now just Asmodeus. That was the one in the player's handbook. So then that makes it 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna give it that one of those nice resets, which is always good, especially when I'm running on essentially limited battery life. That's what I like to see. Why it went to sleep, I don't know. It's very strange, because it never had that problem before. Oh, hey, look, it's still recording. Hell yeah. So we just kind of got... All right. Sorry, minor cut. We had a small jump cut for technical scare.
Yeah, 2019 is the year of technical scares.
Yep.
Calling it now. But I don't know where we left up.
Well, pretty much, yeah. So we have 9 total tiefling sub races now.
And 3 more elf ones, because why not?
I would say the between the DMG, like the Dungeon Master's Guide, Eladrin, and the Eladrin that's in Mordenkainen's, the one that's the Mordenkainen's Eladrin I would say is better for just pure like role playing fun and that kind of thing.
Right.
But what was nice, I don't know, for me, I guess this is maybe more personal, for like as a personal opinion, kind of more over than anything. I kind of preferred that Eladrin had the intelligence boost, just because it was one of those things where because that's always the thing. It's like, if you can have at least just one extra point if you're that class, it's something. And to me, it was always kind of like, I really liked Eladrin as like a race that was useful in the sense of like being like a wizard. But I think the benefit it has is the high elf already has intelligence.
Oh, yeah.
So the reason they put it in the Mordenkainen's version with charisma is that it's a good drow alternative if you don't like sunlight sensitivity.
Oh man, we had this entire conversation about sunlight sensitivity, but we won't bore you on the podcast about that.
But that's the thing is, if you want to play like something like a sorcerer and you want to be an elf and you want to have that extra point, right? And again, Eladrin is also very fun to RP now. The whole seasonal, like emotions and personality thing is super fun. I've tried playing with that before. It's super fun and interesting. In fact, one of my favorite characters had that. And that's the thing is like, so you have that option. Then you get the charisma bonus. So if you want to be a sorcerer as an option, if you're kind of like me and you really don't like playing with sunlight sensitivity.
Oh yeah. The biggest takeaway though from Mordekainen's is the sheer number of high level monsters that you can now add. Oplexes are my favorite.
Oh, they're so fun.
Oh my god.
We did that on the show a good little while ago when we were running the Dimension Crisis series that season, which is part of the VODs for that I think are still up on our channel here.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, yeah. So and in that there was I utilized an Elder Oblex, which was very fun, especially because of its whole like projection thing of being able to be like other adventurers. Use that for a nice story motif. I'm sorry, Dylan. I always, for some reason, I always hit him with those, but the opportunity was there. I was given the best opportunity.
Yeah, Dylan's got his backstory down though, so he's good.
That's why. I mean, that's usually why. That's usually why he's the easiest to do this tie-in stuff with, because he always has the most in-depth backstory, and I can feed off it a lot better.
Oh yeah, but yeah, so that's Mordekainen's, and then after that, I believe.
Well, so technically, and we can't have a physical version of this because it doesn't exist.
That's true.
Which is the Eberron's, the Wayfarer's Guide to Eberron.
Actually, I do have a physical copy of that. I should have brought that with me.
Okay, you printed it out, but there is no printed, there's no actual printed copy.
No, it can be found on the DM's Guide .com online.
DM's Guild.
Thank you. Sorry, DM's Guild online.
If you go to Wizard's site, you can also see it from there. They think there are a couple of other places you can get it. Obviously, you can get it on D&D Beyond.
But yeah, it's $15 online.
I was gonna say I'm not sure if there's another one. And what's nice is when you get, obviously because it's a purely digital release, is they put out updates for it.
Oh yeah.
So you can just, whenever they update the book, just re-download the new one.
I think they have it for D&D Beyond too, so you don't even need to buy it off the DM's Guild.
No, that's why. I said that earlier.
If you use that, D&D
Beyond. And then you don't have to re-download anything because it's all just there.
Exactly.
But otherwise, unlike the Player's Handbook, which got an update recently, so now just newer printed versions.
Oh yeah, the Player's around time.
But if you own the old one, there's some information that is not technically correct, which is things like the animal companion for Beastmaster. They now put in the clarification that if you don't give it a command, it just takes the dodge action by default.
Also,
which is very important because they died a lot because they didn't do that.
Also, spears are now polearms.
Yes, and I loved that. That was one of my favorite additions because there was another character at one point that I was planning to utilize that with, which was my last character in our Friday campaign. At some point, I was planning on utilizing just polearm master because I wanted to. The whole point of the character was kind of to be somewhat of a. It was like to be a College of Swords bard, but not use the sword, and that's why I took I level in Hexblade, so that I could wield spears and a shield, and then I could be use polearm master.
Spears are simple weapons, right?
I don't. That's the thing is I don't know. Yes, but there was something about it. There was an addition to it that I needed. Oh no, it was just the shield. It was mainly just for the shield that I needed.
Got it.
For.
Yep.
Because no bards get shields.
No, they don't.
Rest in peace.
Fortunately.
But no, the spear wasn't the problem. It was mainly that. But it's just funny to be like, I'm a College of Swords bard. Here's my spear, and it all works. You don't need a sword.
Right. College of Valor gets shields, but that just takes away.
But I want a College of Swords.
Yep, you want a College of Swords.
They have amazing abilities. That's a different story. But that was the reason. But yeah, so if you get Eberron online, obviously though, any source that you get it from, you can get updates pretty easily, which is nice about it. Also, it's not the biggest book to get, hence why it's $15.
Oh yeah, no. I printed it out. It's more like a
Because even the digital version, something like Xanathar's, is still $30.
Oh yeah, it's half the size of Xanathar's. If that gives it any perspective to people who actually own Xanathar's, it's pretty thin. But oh my god, Dragon Marks are so much fun.
They can be.
Yes.
They otherwise can be like. I would say that they potentially could overcome. Like if you're if you're a newer player, they could almost like somewhat overcomplicate things. Like if they have their drawbacks.
Oh yeah.
So it's just one of those things when you take don't get inflourished by the idea of the Dragon Mark, maybe without kind of understanding maybe either the drawback or if your DM will care about it, any potential type of like story-based attribution that having that Dragon Mark can cause.
Right. To give the quick
Because if your DM is playing an actual Eberron, those Dragon Marks mean something.
Oh yeah. To give a quick perspective, I played a character with a Dragon Mark, an aberrant Dragon Mark, which has a side effect, usually trivial to it. So my side effect was every time he would use it, he would either lose sight in one eye for a minute or both eyes in a minute, depending on what he did with it.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun.
It was very interesting because I remember the first time you did it, you're just like, I'm blind. Okay, so I can't see.
Oh yeah. No, he's like, I cast friends on him. He's like, all right, my eye starts bleeding. What? Because he had it right over his eye, and it was just funny.
It's just funny
to be. I love that character. He's
great. And you could totally play with the drawbacks and have a bunch of fun with it. There's no saying that you won't, but you should just be in mind. Keep them in mind.
Oh yeah, and also
they have multitude of effects.
True. Also, Eberron has several races that they introduce as well that are typical races that you would think should already be in D&D, but now they like made it 5e official. Is you have the Minotaur, you have the you have the Minotaur, you have the
Minotaur was part of that.
Yeah, you have the Changeling. Yes, you have the Shifter
and the Kalashtar.
Yeah, and my personal favorite, the Warforged.
Yes. I do. No, actually, to be honest, like I'm really happy that they did include the Warforged finally with Eberron. It is like the Warforged are just like this super staple class.
Oh yeah,
or race. And they're interesting. Like there are a multitude of ways that you can play Warforged. You can play them very robotic. You can play them like normal, like a normal person, but just you just are made of a magical tree.
Right.
But like that's the fun part about the Warforged is there are a multitude of ways to play with them and kind of experiment in terms of the styles that you kind of can work with.
Oh yeah, and I had a lot of fun with that. But I think we'll cut that off for Wayfarer's Guide to Eberron.
Yeah,
because right now,
shortly after that, came at least we'll say that it's the first book, which was the Waterdeep Dragon Heist.
If you can see all these little post-it notes, it's the campaign I'm doing right now for these folks right here, and it is so much fun. You want a campaign that deals a lot with role playing and deals a lot with intrigue and subterfuge. That's a good urban setting. This book's amazing, man. Like,
yeah, no, I mean, it is a low level like I guess it's a campaign setting, not an adventure purely, but it does feature an adventure in it.
Oh yeah,
my cord's getting caught. My bad. But yeah. So and it's for levels 1 through 5. So pretty low level. That doesn't mean doesn't mean it's a bad thing. But obviously, if you're running a low level campaign right now, then that book itself that adventure in and of itself isn't going to be super useful. But it does have other cool things in it.
Oh yeah,
it has more than just the adventure itself.
If you want to learn more about the Forgotten Realms setting, by lieu of reading a lot about Waterdeep, which is one of the bigger cities in the Forgotten Realms and the Sword Coast, that book has the entire back section is just like an echelon of all information about the city of Waterdeep, what happens there, holidays, and then any historical events that may happen in the coast in the last few centuries. And it does a really good way of telling it in a way that people can understand. Like the Times of Trouble, no idea what that was. That book helped me understand it. The Sundering also did that. And it was just these major events that happened, because Times of Trouble was 3.5. The Sundering was 4th edition. And now it's so much fun. I'm having so much fun with it.
Yeah, no, I mean, like there's great value in having that book. Obviously, just mostly in terms the adventure is the only thing that is more of like the low level kind of thing to it.
Oh yeah.
But in and of itself, like it's a fun adventure to do. Like low level adventures are also sometimes more fun than the high level stuff where it gets like super complicated. It just becomes like overly anime, fighting. And it like, what's nice about 1 through 5, levels 1 through 5 is that you do get kind of this nice, like semi kind of realistic kind of sense of like being ingrained in the city, being a part of society. Like, when you're level 12 and you go into town, it's like, ooh, like they look impressive. Like they generally, if you go to the like normal folk, they're not just gonna, like some random dude's not just gonna be like, you looking pretty weak there with your giant magical staff of the ancients.
No.
Like, they're like at level 1, they're like, screw you.
It's like, oh, it's another adventure. Get out of here. What are you doing?
Yeah.
This book is just so much fun about that because the whole entire purpose of this is to make you feel at home with Waterdeep.
Mm-hmm.
Even so, that gives you something to solidify that.
Yeah.
And fun fact, if you enjoy playing a certain season like winter, summer, spring, or autumn, the only 4, if you pick a season, that book
not
gives
that Phantom 5th season,
right? The one that the all-encompassing one that exists here in Wisconsin.
Yeah, Shacktober. The one time a year Shaq comes to town.
But you pick a season in the beginning of the story, and it comes with its own specific villain for that season.
Oh.
Yeah, they all exist, but one takes the center stage depending on the season. Or if you want, you can have it have multiple ones competing at the exact same time, and it's. I love this book, man. Like,
yeah. Well, and then we don't have the physical copy of the second one. I bought it just through D&D Beyond.
I have it. I just didn't bring it.
Oh, yeah. Well, way to go.
I know, right?
But no, there was a second part to the Waterdeep kind of series, I guess, which was then the Dungeon of the Mad Mage.
Exactly.
Which is also very good. It's great for 2 big reasons. I have like my top 2 benefits of that book, which is obviously the first one is that it's a very long adventure. If you want to just go through it as a pure adventure, go right from, Dragon Heist to Dungeon of the Mad Mage and just go all the way through it, just huge crawl, or huge, adventure length.
Oh yeah.
You're taking your characters from level 1 to 20. Like that is, so it's a great amount of content. There's so much stuff that you can do with just one set of characters. If you want, it's a great way to kind of add to Dragon Heist itself. Sorry, I thought that truck was coming in. It's a great addition, but the second benefit is that it is great just on its own. Like the best part to me about Mad Mage is how you can take any of the levels in that book and just throw it into your homebrew campaign or whatever, just throw it as a level, like, oh, you've stumbled into this dungeon and it's just one of the levels in Mad Mage. And you can just use all of the stuff from it, but it's not maybe that storyline. You're just kind of sucking it out from the original thing. I kind of did a hybrid version of that up in Shadows of the Empire. I kind of half said it was part of that adventure, but I also kind of, I don't know why, but I'm like pointing my mic in the wrong way every time. But then I kind of did the other part, which was to like, just totally, add the kind of internal aspect, like internal story aspect to it that we have been dealing with. So tie it in together. I didn't just do it all willy-nilly. I had a plan with it, but that's the thing. It's like you can do that. You can just rip these certain levels of these dungeons out and just use them for what you need in your own campaigns, which is super useful. It's like a huge resource book at that point.
All right. One little fun thing you can do too is take any of the levels, make that its own little demi-plane. Like that's all your characters know, and then after a while, once they get a higher level, you're like, by the way, this is just a small little demi-plane. The real adventure is out here. If you really want to play with something, like it works more with like Skullport. Once you go further down, the city of Skullport,
right?
That's in the dungeon, and one of my personal favorite levels of this specific book is the obstacle course. That's in there. Just because my friend is, I'm currently also on another campaign that you're not a part of because it's kind of too far away from you.
Yes.
Where we're running Dungeons of the Mad Mage. We just finished the 5th level, so the first one, and we're going down, and he's playing this just so we can get to the obstacle course. Because
that's where I gotta finish. Just gotta get to the obstacle course.
But in the book, you have so many callbacks to like past things from D&D, from like past adventures or just past editions, even. Because in one of those levels, there's a working Spelljammer ship.
Yeah. And maybe that's an illusion.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about a little later.
Oh yeah.
But yes, there is a number of Easter eggs inside, which is really nice. I like when they do that.
Oh yeah.
I like getting Easter eggs. Rewards me for being a long-time member of Nerd Kingdom D&D.
Oh man. But yeah, they just harken back so much to like Storm Kings,
yeah,
Thunder, Tomb of Annihilation, all that fun jazz.
Right.
And it's like a culmination.
Mm-hmm.
And well, after Dungeons of the Mad Mage, like how can they possibly follow this up? Like this big mammoth book, and you can already see at the bottom of your screen.
Yep.
But they did with the Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica. I have to say it just the way Jerry Crawford has to say it.
Yes. No. This is in fact the only book this year, in fact, that I took the effort to pre-order. One big reason, like it was that was like my, when I heard it was going to be in this book, it was like my, sold. Like it was my sold moment. Like I was thinking otherwise, like I'll probably get it. But this was like my sold. I'm pre-ordering it. I need it right away. Which was the addition of the Circle of Spores, into this book.
Oh yeah.
And I'm finally playing that subclass too, which is so nice. I'm so glad to be playing it finally, too. But this book is super interesting. In terms of our show, it will at some point in the relative future, its inclusion will become quite apparent. If
you see suddenly giant elephant men walking about. All right, so Marshall, what's going on right now?
So sadly, I just realized that I never cleared my SD card. So we, in fact, it was just funny because what was on it was the last podcast.
Exactly.
And I forgot to clear it. So, and unfortunately, we don't have video for this episode, which is very sad. And I realize that now.
Or at least for half.
But and I'm not, we're going to have none because I'm not dropping video halfway through. I'd rather just have a clean episode.
Okay.
One way or another.
No worries.
But yeah, so we were talking about Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, and no, I honestly love this book, because one of the biggest things I think I enjoy about it is its, I guess you could say, relative steampunkiness.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, like I really love when kind of the idea that magic leads to technology, and then technology, and all of those things combine. I mean, like just looking at the cover, and you can just see like this, powerful storm lady with, her, all these conduits
who needs
and
no
wires
man.
Connected. No, because she would probably tase him to death. Just pure electrocution. But yeah, no, I mean, like, because I'm not crazy as a magic person. I played for a little while, a little bit ago. I would say I started learning it in early 2013, late 2012, and then I kind of dropped off around 2014.
Right.
Maybe close to 2015, but still. And I just never had the reason to really go back, but I always liked the themes in it. That was one of the things that I think I did enjoy about it. So when I kind of heard Magic's going to go to DT, that sounds perfect. It sounds like exactly what I want.
Exactly. And this is its own entire cosmology, separate from the Forgotten Realms.
Yes, which sadly is partly why it's not AL legal and probably isn't gonna be. But you make do.
Right. You never know. They might change things. They might be like, oh, they're suddenly Loxodon in Darkhold. They've been trapped there for some reason. But yeah, AL is slowly getting towards the planar travel aspect of it, as all things should go.
Well, and that is just how Magic is of itself. Obviously, they have planeswalkers. That's a whole shtick.
Right.
Since the main guy who's making all the notes in this book, because what's nice about any of these expansions is the little notes that get left behind by whoever is either making the book / reading the book supposedly to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that person would be Jace, one of the most, I would say, iconic planeswalkers to Magic. He's very, I would say he's very much like kind of a poster boy to things in Magic.
Yeah. If you've seen a Magic poster, most likely you've seen Jace.
Yeah. All his nice blue edgelordiness.
Right? Those deep, piercing azure eyes that stare into your soul and tell you, man, you are a weeb.
I was gonna say, because truly the edgelord obviously is the vampire, but every vampire is an edgelord.
That's true. Just look at Alucard.
Exactly.
He's half a vampire.
Yes, exactly.
Which makes him more of an edgelord.
Yes, and in fact gives him extra edgelord powers. It's amazing.
A half equals a whole. Imagine that.
But still, the setting to Guildmasters or to Ravnica is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
They play with the card aspect really well with all the guilds.
Oh yeah.
That's the Guildmasters part. But yeah, it's a whole set of guilds. The city is very expansive. There's a lot of stuff available to you to do in there.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely is. It's very much worth the amount that it is, even though it doesn't add a lot of subclasses or stuff like that. Like, it's not a second Xanathars.
No. It only adds what? Bless you.
Sorry.
2 sub-races, right? Or no, it's 2 subclasses.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, there's 2 subclasses. It's got the Oath of Order and then the Circle of Spores.
Right. Your favorite.
Yes, I do. I do love the Circle of Spores. Like the idea, it was really cool when they came out with the concept for it, and I was really happy to see that it was getting put into the game. I also love because I just love druids in general.
Mm-hmm. They're so great.
Well, yeah, and I've had a lot of fun with them since 3.5, which I'm still slightly saddened by the fact that you don't get an animal companion as a druid now.
Well, you do if you take Circle of the Shepherd, in which case you summon 4 black bears, and then you yourself become the black bear.
Well, you can do that anyway. You don't need to be Circle the Shepherd for that.
While invoking the spirit of the bear to
that's
give you all
that's what
temporary
you need
hit
Shepherd
points.
for. That's what you need Shepherd for. But no, that's the thing though. It's like you have to, because you could always summon creatures, but obviously those are temporary creatures.
Oh yeah.
Animal Companion was with you all the time, just like Beastmaster. But for some reason they were like, all right, we can't have 2 classes now, because in 3.5 they had 2 classes that had, because you could still, I think the Ranger one way or another could get some type of Beast Companion. That's going off of memory. I'm trying to remember exactly what caused that. But the Ranger had that ability or something that was going to lead to that. And then obviously the Druid got it right away. But now they seemingly, for some reason, they're just like, all right, they can't both have it. We got to pick one. And they decided to be like, all right, we're just going to give it to the Ranger as a subclass, because we apparently, in terms of Player's Handbook, can't give them anything else.
Right. They have very circumstantial abilities. Very circumstantial.
I would say the main drawback just to Ranger now is obviously the favorite enemy thing.
Right,
but
that's its own little podcast
that we probably will explore at some point.
The Ranger. What the hell?
Yes, but still, that is Druid has always still been really one of my favorite classes to play. Because I kind of like to play them. I have played them in times as pure nature freaks and whatnot, but it also has been fun to just play them as people who have adapted to the fact that they have to interact with a society.
Oh yeah,
because many when you think of many adventurers guilds, they're going to be in a city. So if you're going to be a druid who's a part of an adventurers guild, you probably had to integrate at some point, or at least you have to walk in there.
Right.
At some point you get relatively used to it. you still prefer nature and
True.
like will like live in a hut like I do. But
It just occurs to me that you're playing a character that has succeeded in integrating with society, and
Yes.
I've played a character that failed at it.
yes.
My
that,
drunk druid being the example.
right. Well, and it was because essentially the benefit was the inclusion of like a pre-existing relationship we made with that I had with another character who's now dead.
Yeah.
So my character had a really good time with that.
Oh yeah, it's like, why does it hurt being around you? Oh, those are the spores that are slowly killing you.
Yes. No, it was like, well, my warning was, I was like, you know, there was a point where I was like, yeah, the spores are getting thicker, and I gave it and then my character is like, yeah, it'd probably be best that you don't stand next to me if I get mad. I'm going to start hurting you.
Said the druid to
Yes.
the tiny cleric.
Yes. But I was but she was mad.
Yeah, she was.
Um,
Who wouldn't be?
but that's again, I love this book. I think it has a great set of like tools and just a different perspective. Like it's not in the Forgotten Realms, and I think that's maybe something that we'll talk about in a minute when we get to our next topic here. But that's something that has obviously been lacking in D&D so far as a whole, is something that is outside of the Forgotten Realms, kind of leaving that, I guess, continent, if you will.
True. There's only been really 2 adventurers that have done like separate non-Forgotten Realms things with asterisks attached to them. Because one of them was, of course, Curse of Strahd, because it happened in its own little demi-plane of Ravenloft.
Right.
Which was somewhat still attached to Forgotten Realms, because you still had a bunch of those gods coming over. But the second thing was Tales of the Yawning Portal, only because, again, asterisk attached, some of the dungeons in there were based out of the Greyhawk adventures.
Right, and that's what's funny about the reality is that, like, the way Tales of the Yawning Portal, it kind of didn't age well because of the way that Dungeons and Mad Mages is in the Yawning Portal.
Oh yeah.
So it kind of like, it was weird because it didn't really like fully translate anymore.
Well, you can do them interchangeably. I like to think so. It's like if you want to do like,
it's just more like the Yawning Portal either has one dungeon or like it is like the Yawning Portal has one dungeon in it. It doesn't like, I don't know why. So like it's like, why are there 2 holes in this building?
Hallister's like, you know what? Change things up. Here's Tomb of Horrors.
Yeah. Let me just add more holes in here so I can just go to other. But still, yeah. But moving on from that.
Oh yeah. Here we go.
We want to talk about 2019. It is 2019.
It's 2019. The meme doesn't translate too well into this year.
Sadly. It was 2016 only, apparently.
Yep.
But so the first thing that obviously we're expecting to see in because they announced it in 2019 is the I don't think they gave a title.
No, there's no
but
title
they
yet.
essentially were just like, it is essentially we're going underwater.
Oh yeah,
getting deep in terms of depth.
Yes, I believe it was the Nathan Stewart, the senior director of Dungeons and Dragons in Avalon Hill, made the kind of like the announcement that they were working on this title on his.
It's in the closing stages of stuff. So.
Yeah. So and another,
it's finishing. It's like about to get like printed. Like it's finished. It is in the finishing stages of writing.
Another notable name, Kate Wench, who plays the Rosie Bee Stinger on the C team and on occasion Acquisitions Incorporated, also who works with Dungeons and Dragons or Wizards of the Coast, I should say.
Right.
Also mentioned this book and has somewhat confirmed its presence. Not how far we've gone.
Yeah, no. I mean, the announcement that they did recently was stating that it is in the final stages of like its writing, and which generally means that it's like close-ish to printing. So it'll probably be, I think the supposed time of its release was supposedly around Marchish.
Around, yeah.
I think that was what it's kind of speculated release date was going to be, which makes sense. That was around when Xanathars came out last year.
Oh, yeah. Xanathars came out late February, I want to say.
Ish, yeah. So again, roughly about the same release schedule. Supposedly this will kind of just be more of an adventure, I think.
Looking at adventure, it's gonna deal with a lot with ships, just because the
yeah, it'll have probably just more, somewhat like the Waterdeep one, where it's like, here is a tool of stuff. Like, here's your list of kind of tools and new information, and then here's an adventure.
Oh yeah, and don't forget that before that, prior to all this, I want to say last month in 2018, they released a UA about ships and how to have a ship, how to own it, like how naval combat should go, stuff like that, to play test, which might be going into this book as well. That's kind of like a solidification of those rules.
Yeah, most likely I would imagine that because if it's gonna be all about the water, all the deep and stuff like that, I imagine they're gonna bring that into a fold. It'd be very strange to be like, here's this entire book about water. You want to fight in the ships? I don't know.
They might even go into the water elemental plane. I feel like there's not enough books to do that. I haven't read.
I mean, it'd be interesting, but it's one of those things where it's more about like, what is the setting that they're trying to put in, and then what is the adventure that they're doing.
That's true. If this is just a supplement book, like a lore / supplement book, I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that.
They really haven't. I would say, like, I mean, if it was something like the Sword Coast Adventures Guide, where it's very thin,
right,
it'd be interesting because they haven't really done anything like it, and I feel like they're not going. My figure was that they weren't going to.
Yeah,
I felt like because the Sword Coast Guide is very small and it's not very expensive, but at the same time, it's kind of like, does it do anything?
Yeah,
for a lot of people, it's very not worth the amount that it is to buy it.
Even though it is a lower cost than all the regular books, just because it's partnered up with the third party, because Wizards of the Coast made that book with Green Ronin Publishing,
right?
Which are the ones who published like the Taldori campaign setting and all that. We didn't even talk about that, the Taldori campaign setting, but that's not official work, so we won't.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah,
we're just talking about like actual releases from like D&D and Wizards.
Although the one thing I do want to see out of this new book, more water enemies. I feel like
that
we
would
are
be
lacking in
I mean,
that.
it would be interesting. I mean, obviously, you can only fight so many octopuses, squid.
There's only so many reef sharks and merfolk until you reach the Kraken.
Yeah,
that's
right. No, that'd be nice to see more about. Otherwise, there isn't much in terms of any type of confirmed expansions.
That's about all we got right now.
We do have this convenient article to talk about, which is
courtesy of comicbook.com, I gotta say.
Which seemingly has some type of side panel to it, but it was the headline, if you wish to look it up, and I'll have a link in the description, is 6 Things We Want to See in Dungeons & Dragons in 2019, written by Christian Hofer. And he has some. The reason we picked this one is because it raises some interesting points for sure. One of which is the first one, and to me is something that I personally also really want to see, not in terms of this specifically, but just the concept, which is they bring in the Artificer class. Since Eberron was released, it makes a lot of sense. They've had the UA for the Artificer out for a long time.
Oh yeah,
it's definitely not perfect in terms of that, but
they released it twice actually.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. The original and then the revised of the playtest.
Yeah, although I don't think that one was actually the UA version. I think that was just on DM's Guild.
No, that was I believe they did do. No, yeah, they did do a UA version of it because I remember downloading it.
You download it means you downloaded it from Wizards.
Oh, I did.
Okay. I downloaded it from that website that's named download.com.
There's so much porn pop-ups. I don't know why.
Yeah, no. But yeah, okay. So, so still, yeah, it wasn't perfect, but I think that they're going to put that much work into it as a UA. Like, at some point, it's got to come out, and that's one thing is I just really want another class.
That's true. Yeah.
It's the game has been out or 5e has been out for almost 5 years now.
And you coming from 3.5 where they have like multiple classes.
So many classes. And I get that there's a difference, but the only thing that Specializations really replaced was prestige classes.
Right.
But base classes still make a huge difference, especially in 5e. You can't really be... Artificer has very unique aspects to it.
Oh yeah.
There isn't something that is that the base classes can replace the Artificer with.
That's true.
And there are other classes that exist that don't do things
And
that they could.
They tried not making Artificer a class at first, because the original like Artificer playtest 4.5e was as a subclass to the Wizard.
Yeah, and I mean that was something that I think a number of people had tried to do a long time ago. Try to think of it that way.
Yeah,
but
it doesn't work out too well.
No, it's more milked. It's like a milked version of what you want.
Exactly.
Instead of, it's like just, instead you want what you want, which is real Artificer.
Right. And I'm hoping that if they do end up,
but even then I would like a new class, even if it's not Artificer.
True.
Like, I don't know, just like let's throw Duskblade into the mix.
However, psionics has always been like this.
Yeah, and that's in the article too.
Yeah. Second thing,
I am very hesitant as a 3.5 kind of, or like that was my first edition, and that was the first time psionics got brought in. We're like, oh my god, they're broken as hell. Like, they were very bad, and that's the thing. It's like seeing the Mystic in the way that is in UA. It just doesn't feel like the game is ever ready for that idea, and I don't know if Wizards is just ever going to get a good enough handle for me to be comfortable running it.
That's true. I mean, I played a campaign as a DM where one of the characters was a Mystic. It got really weird when at level 5 he can do something and automatically it will do 40 damage.
Yeah, it definitely loses luster on a number of things.
Yeah.
And like that's the downside to Mystic, and that's what psionics just were.
Plus, the Mystic class, if you were to print it out, 26 pages.
Yeah, I know.
Just for the class, so they need to either refine it or something.
It needs a lot of revision. It needs a lot. I mean, psionics as a whole needs a lot of work all the time.
Which leads to our third topic, because
something we both want.
Yes. Oh my god.
We want to go to space.
Space.
No, we mentioned it earlier. In one of the dungeons, there's a Spelljammer ship. What we really want is something like Spelljammer, something that can go to space, kind of have this sci-fi-ish,
right? Have a Cowboy Bebop sort of fiasco.
You can relatively easily homebrew some type of sci-fi thing, right?
You can,
but it's really nice. The nice part about when you get these books and when you get these written expansions is it just gives you better context to take the game that is already made and set for fantasy and bringing it into either the future or just forcibly pushing the fantasy realm into the future.
Right.
Not even just like, oh, like let's have this just be later. So like, instead of it just being like, all right, this is just this year, and like you're not really using much of the lore of D&D at all. But if you want to use the lore and go to space, Spelljammer is it.
Exactly. We already have so many spacefaring races already in play.
Right.
The GIF, the hippopotamus face people.
Yes.
That's GIFF.
Yeah, not the GIF,
but they
the
are
GIF
also
Yankee, yeah.
They are also spacefaring in Spelljammer.
Yeah.
Because they go to war with the Mind Flayers, who are the optimal enemy of Spelljammer. Where they I don't want to say they originally came from that, but
they all are also, like, obviously they are also somewhat meant to be kind of space related as well.
Exactly.
Like there is a lot of space kind of related alien like stuff in the game. It's just not really there. Like there's the sci-fi, there's like the weapons and everything that's in the DMG, but
there's
those you really can't. Those ones in the DMG are so powerful, at least like the exotic ones, like the alien blaster and stuff that. Those are so powerful you can't really use them unless you're just trying to like add something interesting to your like level 16 party.
Plus, don't forget, well, you probably won't know this, there's 2 active AL campaigns or AL missions, little adventures that deal with ships in both the Mind Flayer sense and just a Spelljammer type of sense. One of them, I don't remember the exact name, but I played it before, where we were inside a Mind Flayer ship, and it was futuristic as all hell, and we had to destroy or detach an elder brain from the circuit, so we can escape properly.
The mother brain.
Exactly.
You just played Samus. You were all Samus, and you're just in the game of Metroid.
Oh yeah, and it was so much fun. And the second one, it's recent. The Lost Laboratory Kalish. I want to say they recently released that for the Extra Life streams that they were doing.
Yeah, too bad we didn't do that.
No. This year though, 2019. Expect a Natural One Extra Life stream where we die on screen.
Yes.
Multiple times as characters. I don't know. I might just make like 5 characters because this campaign is gonna be tough.
I mean, we'll play around with that, but still.
But yeah, in this adventure, spoilers, well, somewhat. The person who makes this laboratory uses technology from a crashed, I believe, Spelljammer ship or a crashed Iliad ship. And they have multiple magical items that are based off of that technology. So there's already so many things in D&D.
I know. There are so many things, and they really just need to, finally take it. I've heard the rumor that they're supposedly going to do it. I've seen a number of articles where, the Spelljammer has been discussed. Mm-hmm. And I think part of that is due to the fact that it exists as an Easter egg in the Mad Mage. I think that's kind of people are taking that as the idea that, maybe it's coming.
Right.
Maybe it's coming. Maybe that's a sign. Are they hinting at us? And we won't know until we see it officially. But I really do hope that's the case. Some of the other things that are added in the article are things like magical items and spells.
Oh yeah. Which is always fun.
We kind of discussed it already as well, so we won't get into it too much, but it's also potentially going outside of Eberron. We semi-discussed that with the Ravnica book, where it is nice that was outside of it.
Oh yeah. And then
if they actually added more official stuff for it.
Like the article explicitly mentions the Dark Sun campaign, which is you want a post-apocalyptic world? Here you go. Yeah.
One I played a long time ago was one called Midnight. I guess it was actually more part of 3.5, but it was very modified. It was Midnight was kind of its own it was almost its own game, but it used a lot of stuff from 3.5 just to make it kind of through. Think of it like the Ravenloft, the way the 3.5 Ravenloft setting was, where they had their own traits for every race that exists.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But then they would say for more information about this thing, go to the PHP, stuff like that. It was very interesting, and it had specific classes and everything like that. And I don't know if they'll ever do something like that again. The downside to those campaigns is how much those ones are very involved to make. Mm-hmm. Making something like the old Ravenloft campaign setting, which really took a lot of its own stuff, was a lot of changing things. You as players had to, kind of realize that things were going to be different. Mm-hmm. You had to take what you knew from 3.5 and then change things still. So it could be very challenging to kind of change your mindset a little bit.
So if essentially we just want something that will simplify the process of playing in those campaigns.
It's just more, if anything, we just want another campaign setting that is just not Forgotten Realms. That is just maybe, in a different realm, is just a totally different world in general.
Hell, at this point, I'll just take the other side of Tyrell. We focus so much on the Sword Coast. Why not the other side? Why not Elm, further down the Arabian kind of inspired location, or the place where the Egyptian gods live? Because they're a canon thing in Forgotten Realms, just so you know.
But that's the thing though. Is it's or even again not even just this one landmass.
Oh yeah.
Let's just go on the other side of the world and just this totally separated, realm where maybe it's either much more behind, or they're just not as connected to magic and everything, or maybe they're more connected but they keep to themselves, kind of thing.
That's true.
Then you could possibly have that integration between two realms, and that's just you get that just nice kind of benefit. But since they have Adventures League, I see why they aren't really doing it as much, because they want to include as many things as they can into AL.
Oh, yeah.
And leaving the Forgotten Realms, where they kind of have all their stuff put in, pretty much all their eggs are in the Forgotten Realms basket in terms of AL. It's very hard to make something that would be AL legal.
Oh, yeah.
And be outside of Forgotten Realms.
Yeah, when Crystal Straw came out, when they were doing that AL sequence, there was a rule that said that if you went into Barovia, you couldn't leave until you finished the campaign book in terms of that character, because in the book you can't leave Barovia until you defeat Strahd or do something similar to akin to that. So it's been done, but I don't remember hearing positive things about that happening, because then you have people like with their characters stuck. T1 Annihilation has something very limited but similar, where if your character died, you won't be able to res them because of these Soulmonger. But they could use like a surrogate character, which kind of offset it and lets you play some of the other classes. However, there was a very real chance that if you rolled like a 1 on a D20 after every time you start playing with the surrogate character, if you roll a 1, your character's dead, and there's no way of coming back.
If they could, just saying though, in general, like if they could kind of still like expand just for the every other player just a little bit more, like getting the one thing outside of Ravnica, like getting Ravnica is kind of your only one. It has its limitations, but like I think for the normal player, the non-AL player, homebrew or not or whatever, it just gives you more options whether or not, and you can, again, like when it's just a normal realm, you can be as inclusive as you want. You can include anything you want. You can bring in random stuff. I mean, that's why you can just introduce homebrew stuff.
Exactly. Like, so
Did
Wizards.
you want to make a random did you want to make the dog version of a Tabaxi? Go right ahead.
Hit it. Do it.
And see if your DM's cool with it. Like so things like Ravnica don't really affect the average campaign as much.
Oh yeah. But yeah, Wizards. So hopefully we see either Greyhawk, Dragonlance setting, Greyhawk, or I already said Greyhawk.
I really want Greyhawk. Give it to me.
Dark Sun would introduce many interesting concepts, like the fact that you won't have as many metal items in there because it's more apocalyptic, so you got to use what you use. So wood, bone, that'll be fun.
Oh yeah, no, that's just like Midnight.
Oh yeah. And it's just, yeah, man, there's so much things that we want for this year. They're really, in terms of like my main thing, that like the only thing that I could ask for specifically from Wizards that I want is really just, if I had to say 2 at least, it would be the class and just something sci-fi. Not because, like, I mean, granted, yes, I understand it's a fantasy game and there are other sci-fi things, but I really like the rules to D&D, and that's always why I've stuck with D&D for so long. Because I could just go to Starfinder. Right. Starfinder's a good game. Yeah. Nothing wrong with it. Yeah.
It's if you like that, if you like it, go right ahead, play it. But I always liked D&D. I liked its rules. I always felt like Wizards kind of did a lot of cool stuff. I feel like their support for it's really good. Although Paizo has done a very good job with Pathfinder, just with Starfinder, not as much.
Right.
It's because their main thing is Pathfinder.
It's always been the second fiddle to Pathfinder.
Yeah, which is sad because I would love to see a better, because the really main game the main sci-fi game that got a lot of stuff was Star Wars, and that is no longer technically, like, there's no new stuff as far as I've been alluded to.
I don't think so.
You can definitely find Star Wars books at a number of game shops. Trust me, but new ones are a different story.
Right. Looks like Star Wars still has that. The curse of the Star Wars games transcends towards board games. And tabletop games.
Yeah. But that's obviously just because a lot of things changed and whatnot to Star Wars. But still, it is very, like, there isn't a lot of big end sci-fi. Like, nothing has been able to be equal to D&D, but that's the thing is, so when D&D can go sci-fi, you get a different realm of support that the other smaller games don't get. And that's kind of the main reason why it's something that I would like. But really, like, the number one thing I want in 2019, just done, is new class. I just want a new class.
Just one.
One class.
If I have 3 things I want to see, just because I need to one up you, literally. First one, definitely like Spelljammer or something akin to it.
Mm-hmm.
Second would have to be just more lore books. I'm simple like that. I just like lore, reading all that and being like, this sounds amazing. I'm gonna do that and introduce that into your campaign. Third thing, Acquisitions Incorporated Employees Handbook. It's already been confirmed.
Yeah, it'll be interesting though.
I don't think it'll be like official, like Wizards of the Coast, but they have a part of it. There
are things, and obviously there are the books that kind of, there was like the Mercer stuff and the Critical Role books.
That Tadori campaign setting, which is really nice. It's really
obviously, Wizards has kind of been somewhat inclusive to things like, the Blood Hunter and the Gunslinger subclasses. So like some of the Critical Role stuff, but not all. They're not totally inclusive. Whereas there are books and they're interesting. And we've seen people use them. And they can introduce cool things.
Mm-hmm.
So having the Acquisition Incorporated Employee Handbook would be very interesting.
Yeah, just because we don't know what's in it. It might just be.
You're right.
It might just be lore. They're like, by the way, here's some subclasses. I'm like, what?
You never know. But it'll be interesting to see them do it. To see more about it, and I'm interested to see more. But I mean, just for at least from Wizards, give me a class. Give it to me.
All right. I think we're reaching about the time.
Yes.
Where we should end.
Yeah. We're based on our some of our stops and whatnot. We should be good now.
Yeah.
So that'll do it for this episode of the Tilted Roll podcast. Thank you for joining us.
Before we go,
yes,
just a little fun fact. Tomb Annihilation comes with 2 unique backgrounds: the anthropologist and the archaeologist. That's all I wanted to say.
Cool.
Yeah.
That'll do it that'll do it for this episode. Thank you for tuning in. And so this is my friend Francisco.
And this is my friend Marshall.
Your pen. This is my pen. This is my pen. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
We will see you next time.
Yeah. Have a good one.